It's the end of summer and we're going to show you how to use a triangle escape board to get the bees out of your honey supers. So the honey supers are the boxes at the top of the hive where the bees have stored excess honey, good for humans to take. And the two lower boxes are the brood boxes, and they also have honey stored in them, which we will not take because they need that honey for their winter survival. So the first thing we want to do to install the triangle escape board is open up the hive and take the supers off temporarily. So there's a lot of bees in those supers, and you don't want to take these bees into your house. All you want to take in the house is frames of honey. So we're going to separate the bees from the honey by using this clever device. Notice all the propolis that these bees have put around. This is some very sticky stuff, and sometimes the boxes are so stuck together that it's hard to remove them the longer they've been on. Let's see how hard it is. Sometimes frames from a box below are stuck to the frames above. Ah, it is happening. Can you see this? What we have to do is have either two hive tools or a friend with a hive tool, and you just put it in a little ways and pry those down as the other person holds the box up with the prying motion of the first hive tool. I'm not poking my hive tool in very far, and I'm making sure I don't smash a bunch of bees' heads while I'm pressing these frames down. Alright, it's free. So this super is a medium, and it probably weighs about 45 pounds, which is a lot. It's okay to stand them on their tips. It's really probably okay to stand it on its side too, but sometimes the frames settle to the side then, and they kind of accordion against each other, and they might flatten bees. So we'll get the second one off, and then we'll show you what else we're going to do. Now the two supers are off, and we're taking off the queen excluder. This is a plastic queen excluder, and you just sort of gently ease it off. We're not feeding. That feeder on the right there is just ready for fall. So right now we've got the brood chamber made of two brood boxes. So the triangle escape board is going to go on, and it's kind of like a maze. The bees from above, which will be this side, can go in, and they end up going through the triangles and into the brood chambers below. Can we just see those triangles again that are at the bottom? The circle should be at the top and the triangles at the bottom. So when they go through, they end up exiting one of the 3 points into the brood chamber below, but they can't figure out how to go back into those points to get through that circle and go up. So that's the beauty of it. Now all we have to do is pick up those two 45-pound supers and put them back on and wait 24 hours. It's good to have a helper. The other thing you have to remember is that if your inner cover has any kind of notch or hole where the bees can fly out or crawl in, you want to block that off. No area where bees can enter the supers from outside. And that might also mean something like this, where there's a little damage. We might put some tape right there. Everything should be tightly closed, snug, and the only place they can use to get out of those supers is the triangle escape board, straight into the brood chamber. So we're coming back to get super off of the triangle escape board. Now you remember when we put it on, the two supers were above it. But we checked that out and found out that this one had brood in it. We opened it up and said, why are there still bees in these supers? And investigated more closely, and we found brood in this one. So why is that brood in those frames? Because a queen laid eggs up there. There are a couple of reasons you might find a queen above the queen excluder. It could have been beekeeper error during some manipulations. She was accidentally allowed to get into a super. This sometimes happens if you stack a brood chamber on top of a super which you've just taken off and set aside. Another reason it might happen is that the hive swarmed earlier in the summer and the newly mated queen returned to a hole above the queen excluder and entered the hive in a super. A third reason is that there is damage to the queen excluder, and one of the little gaps allowed her to push her way up and get into the super. So we changed the arrangement. We're leaving that brood to emerge, and we're just using a triangle escape on this one. So let's check it out. Nice. This is really very nice. Looks like there's about 4 bees maybe. If you get bees in your kitchen or where you're extracting, they'll fly to the windows and you can catch them with a cup and a card and put them outside. So, just show you that. Maybe 6 or 7 bees. Not too many overall from the thousands that used to be there. So I'm going to take this away and cover it and get ready to extract it. Triangle escape doesn't use any chemicals. It uses the bee's own instincts and sense of smell and motion inside of the dark hive to get them down out of the supers and into the brood chambers overnight.